Coming at you live from Brooklyn and Jersey, it's Real Talk, Rates, and Repeat with your hosts Gary and Queenie from Cliffco Mortgage. Real stories, real advice, no fluff. Let's go.
All right. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in again after Thanksgiving. Hope everybody's Thanksgiving was well. Now we're going into the holiday season, and today's episode is going to be about the holiday spending versus financial discipline. Is the struggle real? So,
you know, this is really for everybody currently pretending that they're just browsing on Amazon, but they're actually not. Holiday spending. I don't know. I'm not a good person to talk to about this episode, to be honest. Like, now that I'm thinking about it, because I am the best and worst kind of consumer.
So let's talk about that, and then we'll tell everybody to do the opposite.
Do the opposite of what I do.
Right.
That would actually make you very financially
Responsible.
smart. Yes.
I mean, honestly, I think by the time that this comes out, right? I think by the time that this comes out, you're already gonna have the Amazon Prime Day, which I think, I get the the images and the advertisements. I think it was like November 20th, and then you're gonna have Black Friday. So I feel like by the time this episode comes out, a lot of people should have already done the majority of their shopping during those 2 days. That's what I feel. I don't know.
See, that shows you as the responsible shopper, because yes, I have my list of stuff that I want to buy during like the big sale seasons, right? Like the advertised sales times, but it's never with purpose. I guess that should really be what it is, right? Like when you're spending, and this is something actually one of my coaches had taught me. If you spend with purpose, then there's less, what do they call it? Buyer's regret.
Buyer's remorse?
Buyer's remorse, right? So I'm guilty of not really spending with purpose. I'm more of an impulsive consumer. So during the sale seasons, yeah, I have all the stuff I want to buy, but what I should have in mind is, well, Christmas is coming up, so this is when I should be shopping for Christmas, right? This is when I should be shopping for this or for that, like to spend with purpose, right? So I wouldn't, and I don't think I'm an anomaly. I think a lot of people actually spend that way. So I have to say, Gary, that your statement may be incorrect, that most people should have had done their shopping already.
Not really. So we definitely have our impulse times. We're just like, oh, this is on sale. Let me get it. I've been looking at it. But more times than not, when I'm looking at Amazon Prime Day or Black Friday, it's to sort of see who we have to get presents for or whether we could buy them early, right? Like I'm the type of person where, and this is probably the most frustrating for me. It's just like, oh, let me buy a costume for my daughter or my son now to wear next year because it's super on sale, or I'll get them gifts for their birthdays. But usually if we buy them costumes or think about the costumes for them, it's by the time Halloween rolls around next year, they don't want to wear that. They want to be some other thing. So that unfortunately is a waste of money. But the gifts, sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing, because you have Ryan, so that their sort of attitude and their wish list changed in a drop of a hat, just based upon anything that's new.
Right.
So it's like gifts that we buy them now, it's just like if we hide them and keep them in the closet, by the time their birthday or something special comes along and give it to them, they're like, oh, this is cute, but I don't want it anymore. I'm like, oh.
Well, so what are like some tips you would say, right? Like, I think for me, when we're talking about holiday spending, one thing that everyone knows the word but do not adhere to is budget, right? There's like a holiday budget lie that we all, kind of tell ourselves, that, here's the truth. Like I'm setting a budget, a spending cap every single year. And then I find myself rationalizing every gift like it's an investment in someone else's like emotional well-being, right?
Yeah.
Like, well, I have this, I tell myself, oh, like you brought up Ryan, so I'll use that as an example. He has 1 million toys already. And I know that every gift that he's going to get from everyone else is going to be a toy. So I'm like, I'm not buying him a toy. And then we go to Target and then he's like, oh my God, mommy, I really want this. And then I'm already making a mental note, like, oh, I'm going to get this for him, right? But I think especially during the holidays, you know, adhering to the spending budget that you give yourself is actually very important.
Yeah.
It's hard, but at the end of the day, whatever you're purchasing, especially as a gift, none of it is this person needs, and I wouldn't say none, most is not this person needs this item. It's more of they would like it. It's you're investing in someone else's emotional well-being.
Yeah.
So let's kind of tie that up, tighten that up a little bit and not justify it later on, and then all of a sudden you realize your budget's like double what it was.
I try during those times to buy things that we need for the house. It sounds so boring. It does sound so boring, but I'll buy like the garbage bags. I'll buy because well, because Jersey doesn't have plastic bags anymore. If you go to a store, you don't get plastic bags. So
Okay, you're just talking about shopping now. I mean, I hope you're not gifting your wife garbage bags
No,
for
no.
Christmas. Like, hey,
No.
I think this will be a really great addition to our family.
No, but you're talking about
To
like
our
spending
household.
and all that stuff, right? But during the holiday
Mhm.
seasons, it's like, obviously there's big sales because of Amazon, Black Friday, things like that. So I'll buy things for the house that I think that we need, and then I will spend on gifts for myself or my wife or my kids, but I try not to as I try not to impulse buy just because then I don't like clutter. I don't like clutter. Right.
Yes. My house would be a nightmare for you then.
My house is a nightmare half the time. It comes to a point where it's just like, after a big sale day and then, 2, 3 days later, you come home and you're just like, oh my God, why is there like 20 boxes or 20 packages? And then it's just like, you open it, you're like, it's just too overwhelming for me. But yeah, I try not to impulse buy as much as I can. Are there times that I do? Yeah, there are times that I do. So okay, one of the impulse buys that I did was, I think it was very recent. I bought a at-home sauna because somebody I had a conversation with, they're just like, they're talking about like, health, like healthy habits and things like that. And they're like, oh, getting a sauna is really good for yourself. It sort of resets your body, things like that. So I was just like, so this conversation stuck.
It's an impulse buy.
It was an impulse buy. So I'm just sitting there, I'm just like, scrolling. I was like, oh, this is cheap. And like, you talk yourself into buying it because you're like, oh no, well, it would be more financially responsible if I did this than to buy 2 sessions at the spa, because then that would be.
That's the justification part, right?
Yep. You justify
Yes.
these weird purchases.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I would say key number one to holiday spending is set your holiday budget, right? Set your holiday budget. You want to budget like the way you plan your, for the mortgage bankers out there or the real estate agents, like the way you plan your pipeline, right? Like you do it intentionally, the way you plan, your workday. You want to budget intentionally and like kind of set like a joy budget. There's a difference between impulse buy and then actually setting a joy budget. And then afterwards, honestly, I'm not saying, hey, knock impulse buy out of your vocabulary entirely. That's not going to happen. But when that happens, it's more like awareness and not shame, right? Like you kind of know, like, all right, we've all been there. I got this, like you got the sauna. Look, my office is not really an office. It's actually a craft room. I've actually built a craft room because I thought that I was not just a mortgage banker. I am a Betty homemaker. So I started personalize everything. I bought a Cricut machine. I have like 100 blank tote bags because I feel like I'm gonna do something with it and personalize it and give it away. I don't know, right? But that is my the awareness part fitting in now. Because am I buying any more craft stuff? No. But did I go on a spending spree on buying craft stuff for probably a year? So set your budget and then have awareness afterwards that like, hey, I'm a crazy consumer. And I will stop doing that.
If we want to bring that back Yeah. So if you check out one of my closets, it's literally the same thing. It's full of tote bags. It's full of these water bottles that my wife bought because the same thing. She got a Cricut machine. She got a heat press. So she wanted all this, and I'm just like, oh, okay. So it's the same thing. She made a few tote bags. She made that. Um, but yeah, she's like you, I would say. Like you have to be the extra mom for daycare, and you're
Yeah,
like I'm
I
pretty sure you're
am.
probably going to be making you'll probably be making t-shirts when you guys go on vacations. Oh my God, people should really see the face you just made. You are 100% guilty.
So I went on a Disney cruise 2 years ago, 2 Halloweens ago, and it was with a group of friends. I think there was like probably 50 of us. And of those 50 people, I think 15 were kids. And each kid had a Disney t-shirt with their name on it that I made from scratch.
Okay. Okay.
I had to. I
Was
had
it
to be
bright
that
colors?
extra mom. No, it was glitter. It
Yeah.
was like a black glitter
Okay.
situation.
Well, I thought you were gonna say, you made it like extra bright colors so that way you could be the responsible adult. So that way you give them to the kids and you can see, oh, that's my kid over there because he's wearing a
That
super.
is the correct answer. Yes. But no, that's not my answer. Um, but yes, I am that extra mom, which makes me that extra impulsive buyer. But again, it's okay to have impulse
It
buys.
is. It's
But
like
I think it's
toothpaste.
just, it's especially going into the holidays, it's just notoriously known to be the biggest money sucker month or two of the
Yeah.
year, right? Between having Black Friday and then between having Christmas coming up,
Cyber
and the new
Monday.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's just people usually just spend a lot of money during this time. But how does that affect you, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a very important thing that you just brought up is how does it affect people? And it's so funny that you're saying setting a budget, right? Because, you're a mortgage banker, so you have a lot of clients that, the first thing you're talking to them about is what's their budget? What are you trying to do? Pay monthly. It's amazing the fact that they think about the budget then. But then during the holiday season, that budget goes way out the window, right? So how does that, you tell me, like, how would that impact your client? Like, what's your advice to them? And like, why can't they spend frivolously?
Well, I mean, it I don't want this to turn into a fear episode, right? Where they're like
No.
going into the holidays thinking, "Oh crap, now I can't spend, I can't get this gift or whatever the case may be." I think the goal of this is really, you can go ahead and enjoy the holidays, buy the the sneakers that you don't actually need but you really want, but maybe just kind of skip that item that you probably have 4 or 5 different versions of, like a smart home item or gadget that you have, for your kitchen or whatnot that you already have another version of. It's really bottling down to that purchasing with intent because now comes the scary part. How is that going to affect you? Let's say you're going through a mortgage process right before the holidays, and then you spend, and then, again, during this time, not only is buying stuff a big thing, people are also working less, meaning there's more holidays, more people are taking off, more people are taking vacation. So you may want to say, hey, I want to close before the end of the year. But you may not be able to close before the end of the year. It may trickle into January. So what if now we have to repo credit because it's taken a few weeks longer because everyone's just working a little bit slower. And then now we repo credit and then we see that you racked up this huge credit card bill, then your monthly payment's higher, and then we have to re-underwrite the whole thing. It's not the end of the world. It's not something that's going to be like you're going to go from approved to denied, but it's something to be mindful of if you are also in the process of making probably one of your biggest singular purchases of your life, which is a home, during this time where you will also be spending more than usual throughout the year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would say that the direct connection to holiday spending would be something like that if we're talking about how that impacts, getting a mortgage or buying a home. And again, not the end of the world. I'm not saying, hey, now you can't enjoy your Christmas this year because of this. It's just, for your own sake as well, just be a little bit more mindful, um,
Yeah, be
intentional
mindful.
purchasing. Yeah.
Be mindful. Also take our other episode of, closing table mishaps into consideration. Like just because you're
Hmm.
going to stores buying stuff, and I know the mall is dead. A lot of people do online shopping, but like I said previously, be mindful of when you're going into these retail stores. Don't just automatically try to save an additional 25% by applying for XYZ's credit card. Like, don't do that. It's bad.
I think you specifically made a correlation between saving an extra $10 at J. Crew or something
I
and
did.
opening
I
a,
did.
yeah.
I did. I did. Listen, I like J.Crew. I was just there yesterday, but at the same time, it's these salespeople. They have their own KPIs to manage. It's just like, hey, how many people did you get signed up for a credit card? And I purposely have my credit frozen because I don't want to have that impulse. Like, hey, let me apply
Yeah.
for this credit. I don't need any more credit cards. I have enough. It's I don't need to save an
Yeah.
extra 20% off because of that. Like, I think that itself is also, hey, be a little bit more responsible.
We can have another episode regarding like credit cards and points and savings and stuff like that. But one thing you just pointed out that's kind of interesting is yes, you could be saving that 10% if you open that department store credit card. But what you're not realizing is maybe if you're using the card that you usually use, which is like it could be like your Amex or your Chase or whatever the case may be, that has rewards and points.
Good
That's
transfer.
also getting
Yeah.
you savings, and you already have that card. You're already using it every day, so build up those points instead.
Yeah.
See, now we're gonna get hate from like these department store credit cards being like, "Hey, stop steering our consumers away." But I'm just saying, there's other routes where you can still experience savings and build points and all that good stuff.
Yeah, like I think just using your traditional credit cards are good because like you said, you're building up points and things that you can choose to get gift cards for, right? But if you sign up for I'll just say Gap and Banana Republic card, if you sign up for them, then your rewards are going only towards those purchases. So you can only go and back. So it's sort of like once they get
Yeah,
you, they're keeping you. Like that's that mentality. It's just like, hey, let's just keep getting them in the store. And it's funny
yeah,
because, if you go to a store like Gap, you go buy something, they give you a coupon. It's like, $20 off 100, or like, how those things are, right? Or like $30 off XYZ. And then you use a credit card, you get 3 times. It's just a gimmick to just keep getting you to spend more. So I'm just like, I'm a very big advocate in using the credit cards that you have, right? Use the credit cards that you have. They translate to either points, miles, whatever, and you can sort of, use them for what you do.
and again, everyone that's listening to this, we are in December, and no one wants to sit here right before the holidays being lectured by us. So that's not the whole point here. We're not saying um, to take any less joy out of your holidays. But what I can guarantee you is with mindful spending and proper budgeting, you will actually experience more joy for the holidays and post-holiday, because
Mhm.
nothing ruins the holidays more than come mid-January when you get that crazy credit card bill. So I think, don't take this as a lecture. It's more of a slow burning, long-term positive experience that you will have if you take on these little tips. And again, nothing that I think you guys don't know already, but sometimes you just need a little reminder, right? Stick to your budget. Yeah.
I think especially like, when you have clients buying a house, their first sort of, their first thing to think about, especially during this time, is just like, oh, I could buy furniture during this time. And it's just like, dude, that's like, those are like the heavy, heavy items that like are going to get you in trouble, I think.
Yeah, yeah. And at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, go ahead and like buy your stuff, buy your gifts, right? But just don't like buy yourself out of a pre-approval.
Talk to your real estate professional before you do any spending. That's the thing. I would love for us to do an episode off topics on Reddit. So let's just sit there. Let's just read topics that they get posted on these subreddits, and then let's give our honest opinion. I think that'd be a phenomenal.
Yeah, we can do something like that.
But
Um,
yeah, talk to your loan officer. Don't sit there and don't post on a social media platform and be like, should I spend this? Like, I literally saw a post yesterday about this person. They were like, I'm in contract. I'm almost done with the mortgage process, but I have the opportunity to buy XIX. Should I do it? I'm like, and like, I wanted to comment. I wanted to say, like, wouldn't this be a better question for your loan officer, not for strangers?
yeah.
It's amazing. Like, if you have a big purchase, talk to your real estate professional, talk to your real estate agent, talk to your lender. They're going to know. They're going to know what your issues are. They're going to know what your timing is like. Like, do you have time to purchase that? Like, talk to them.
And sometimes having that different perspective, and especially from someone that's a professional in that area, gives you clarity, right? Like, it's like when I talk to my clients, it's something so simple as just being like, okay, look, I get it. Your income approves you for this, but keep in mind, that doesn't mean you have to spend that.
Yeah.
And that's the same conversation I have when it comes to like down payment, right? You could have this much money in the bank, but you don't have to spend all of it on your down payment. You know, that you want money left over for a rainy day. You want to have, especially again, going into the holidays, right? Like these are little things that you may not be thinking about when you are planning and saving for that home. That, okay, well, I'm buying a home now, but like I'm gonna go and like put every dollar that I have into this down payment. I still have my retirement or my investments as reserves, so I'm good. But then in comes November and December, and you're like, oh, wait. And then now all of a sudden you're living paycheck by paycheck because now you're spending it on your credit card, waiting to get paid the next month so then you can pay for it.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just like, it's these little tiny things that you think may not affect you, but once it's brought to light, you're kind of like, oh, okay, so maybe just cut that budget in half, right? In terms of the spending budget, or be a little bit more mindful about like, where really are you in terms of like the down payment you've saved and how to, and this trickles into the early on stage when you're saving for the down payment. It's the same budget concept as when you're budgeting for the holidays and to buy your first home.
Yeah.
Like I speak to so many people that's like the generation younger than me, about how to actually mindfully do your budget through the year in terms of like, okay, realistically, this is how much you make, but after taxes, how much you bring home. What are your non-negotiables, right? Your housing expense is a non-negotiable, right? Any type of expense that's on your credit report is a non-negotiable. You have to pay those. And then how much money do you have left over to spend on your joy budget, your joy spending, right? And then how much do you want to save? Okay, so how are you going to actually budget? Like it's an interesting topic. I really enjoy doing this with individuals, but it is not just about holiday budgeting and holiday spending. This is an overall how you financially become disciplined.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a very important thing that you just touched upon is just basically financial literacy and just financial responsibility. It's not taught enough. I mean, you don't learn it at school anyway. Like they don't teach that at school, right?
They're starting to, but it's not a required class, right? It's definitely it's a topic, and there are some schools that do teach that in high school, and in college, but it's not like a required class like how math and English is, right? But I am seeing more of that.
Well, it's good because I mean, if you're having to rely on parents, or friends to sort of teach these things, it's just like, well, what if the parent isn't good at it? Then you're gonna have a generation of people that are just like horrible at budgeting, and that's not good.
But I do think though, as of now, the new generation is a little bit better at that. Like they're a little bit more financially savvy, financially literate, because they're being exposed more to like investment opportunities. It's just a matter of now spreading the word even more. I did a podcast for a bank recently, and one of the things I noticed about the current real estate market trend, at least in like Brooklyn, New York City, younger people are starting to invest in real estate
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
because of a multitude of reasons. Like, let's just put education as a standpoint, right? They're more educated, they have more opportunities to go to college. Hence, when they graduate, they're getting better jobs, they're making more money, and now they're spending it on real estate. Like that's on their radar earlier than when it became on the radar for our parents. Or at least for me, like my parents' generation.
Okay.
Because then buying a home is like they have to save every penny they have to buy a home all cash. Now, the younger generation is utilizing being able to get a mortgage, being financially savvy in terms of understanding, okay, well, if I buy this, I get a mortgage, but then the rent covers the expenses, so I'm in a good place. More people now are coming to me, younger folks are coming to me saying, hey, I'm looking for a pre-approval to buy my first home to live in. And then I'm like, oh, okay, great. So you're a first time home buyer. They're like, no, I have investment properties. I'm collecting rent in this place. And I'm like, I see. So they're actually not buying their first home to live in. They're buying their first home to invest.
Mm.
And then afterwards, they have built this type of financial independence or like cushion.
Okay.
And then they're like, okay, let me buy a home to live in, right? So, I mean, we kind of went off at a tangent, not so much of the
No,
topic
no,
for this episode, but
I like it. I like where the conversation just went because I sort of disagree in the aspect that from what you just described, I don't think that's the norm. I think that's sort of the outlier. I think, yes, there's
mhm,
definitely a smaller segment of people that are younger that, they are not first time home buyers. They're buying multiple investment properties. They're doing what they like to call it. And I hate saying like they want to call house hacking. A lot of them are
mm,
social media, they're seeing TikTok and they're learning how to invest, which is very responsible, right? But they always use the term house hacking. So they're using FHA and then they're renting out the other rooms for each. And then, then they're building equity. And then once they're in the house for 2-3 years, then they're buying another property. So I think there's definitely a smaller sort of segment of
mhm.
this generation. I don't even know what this generation is called anymore. That are, I mean,
Jen some letter. Yeah.
but yeah, it's crazy because of the fact that they are so smart and they are so financially aware of what they need to do that I think some of them, like I said, and they're part of that group that that you've spoken at, Sarah, whatever.
Hmm.
A lot of them are so young; they're like early 20s. A lot of them are software engineers with pretty good disposable income, and then when you talk to them, they're just like, yeah, I have 3, 4, 5. And some of them are like 15, 20 doors. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, why wasn't I this responsible when I was younger? It's like crazy.
Well, that's why I also feel like it's our responsibility as financial professionals to somehow spread this word, right? I am in the works of putting together a panel that's specifically only for high schoolers that's going to talk about this, about financial literacy, about budgeting. I know we started this saying, hey, holiday spending, but like I kind of touched on before, holiday spending, that same discipline that gets you through this expensive time period of the year also helps you get that home later on. So it's not as simple as just like how do you spend smart during the holidays? It's that trickles into a much bigger topic.
Yeah.
But yeah, like as financial professionals, we need to spread this word. We need to spread this knowledge because not only like we didn't learn it in school, we didn't learn it during a class. We learned it over the 20 years we've been doing this business.
Yeah. You're not the bad guy. I don't think, you're not the bad guy for telling somebody, hey, be mindful of what you're spending. No, you're looking out for them. You're an
Mm-hmm.
advisor. You're an advisor. You're advising them, hey, this is the best route to go for you to have a smooth transaction. Like you're advising them, like, hey, maybe, cut down on the impulse and do the necessities, right? And you can maybe treat yourself once you're there. I think it's very important to act as an advisor because everybody, like I said, during the holiday season is wants to buy things and just have, just make everybody happy. So
Yeah. Yeah. I think you and I, we also work very similar when it comes to dealing with our referral partners and our clients, where it's not just like, hey, this is the product we have and that's it. You know, like we really do spend the time to get to know them, to talk to them. And I I've spoken to clients that I've worked with for 2 years to just to prep them financially so that they can end up buying that home. So if a client comes to me and they're like, hey, I want to do this, and I look at their financials and I'm just like, there's no way you're buying a home right now. Like, forget about like the financially comfortable buying a home, more like you're just not going to get approved. I don't turn them away and say, all right, sorry, come back next time, right? Like I actually explain to them, like, well, this is the situation, this is where you are, this is where you have to get to. How do you get from point A to point B? Let's break it down,
Yeah.
right? And again, that same concept, that same discipline, you practice it on a small scale first, and then it trickles down to that bigger scale when you're trying to make that other big purchase. So when I say small scale, it's that holiday spending. And then you use the same concept in everything else you do in life when it comes to, budgeting and your financial literacy.
Yeah, you're giving them a roadmap as far as where they are right now and where they want to go. So
Hmm.
obviously it's up to them to listen, be mindful of what they're doing and spending, and obviously communicate. I think communication is a very big thing. They need to communicate. Hey, Queenie, or hey, XYZ realtor, I just did this. Do you think it's fine? Right? As long as you're aware of whatever that they might be buying or thinking, you can advise them the best way. So I think, definitely this season, it's joyful season, but also be very mindful of what you guys are doing. You know, um, I don't want to be surprised by January credit card bill that's a few $1,000s of, and then seeing my house be filled with things that have not been open for a year.
And also that crazy long haul or big haul to the UPS drop-off location to make those returns.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
How many people are guilty of having like, oh, you know what, I'm not gonna use this, let me return this. And then they end up having it in their house or in the trunk of their car for a few months before they actually end up returning it, right? Again, guilty.
There is a return by date for the Amazon purchases.
Theoretically, but there's a little hack around that. And I'm not going to say it during this podcast. If anyone is interested in what that hack is, you can message me on the side. But, we are in the midst of the holidays. We don't want this episode to be, about lecturing, about putting fear in you and like, I can't enjoy the holidays because now I have to be frugal and just sit home and cut up all my credit cards. No, like go ahead, go be merry, go spend. It's just about intentional spending. That's it.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay to spend. It's okay to enjoy the holidays. You should be. I love the holidays. I've always loved the holidays.
Yeah.
So, I don't want to take that away from anyone. It's just more about knowledge. That's what we're trying to spread here. Education and knowledge and being informative.
Yeah. I think that's all we have to touch upon, right? Do you have anything else you want to say?
I want to say happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays. December is a month filled with holiday parties, holiday spending.
We have to talk about holiday parties next. I love that topic. There's so much to talk about holiday parties, holiday networking.
Well, yeah, let's have an episode.
Yeah.
Let's have an episode about holiday networking nightmares. And then let's find stories. Let's find people's stories. We'll have them send us, and then we'll read it off, and then give our
I think that would be really fun. So if as you guys, because we're in the beginning of December right now, holiday parties, holiday networking has already started for a lot of realtors, a lot of mortgage bankers, a lot of title people, insurance people, anyone in real estate. Holiday parties has already started. So keep in mind, if anything comes up that's just kind of ridiculous, kind of a nightmare, kind of funny, send it to us. We're going to talk about it. We're going to cover it.
We're not going to mention you guys by name. We're not going to mention.
No, we won't. Unless you want us to, we could. But no, we prefer, let's keep it anonymous. But anything ridiculous you think it's worth sharing, let us know, because that's going to be a fun episode. We're definitely doing that one.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that. And you guys all have my contact info. You have Gary's contact info. You can leave us a message or a comment down below. And we go from there.
All right. Well, guys, hope you have a great rest of your day, week, and month. And we will see you in about 2 weeks. Bye.
Happy holidays. Bye.